Welcome into Jags A.M. I'm Kainani Stevens. Brian Sexton and John Oehser are with me today as we're going to recap rookie minicamp that kicked off last week. We got to look at all of the newest Jags players, and it did not disappoint as much as minicamp really can. So let's start out with our first big thing of the day, which is star of the show. Travis Hunter, of course, all eyes were on him as we got to see him in a Jaguars uniform for the first time, and he brought the energy for sure.
Yes, it's definitely a blessing to, be able to do that. I got to be authentic, got to bring the energy up out here. Make sure everyone is having fun, with a smile on their face and doing what we love.
Why is that important?
Brian, we saw him out there dancing, but he takes it seriously too, so he's not just out there having fun, but nice to finally see him out there. And the fans got to see him on Saturday as well.
Yeah, listen, rookie minicamp, you're running around, running routes. I thought he was the star of the show more for that social media post from his seatmate on the flight home from Denver to Colorado, the lady who had no idea who he was. He helped her with the bag. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And before you knew it, she's talking about becoming a season ticket holder. I mean, he's the star of the show for so many reasons right now. But not the least among them is that when you hear of an interaction with this superstar athlete, it's always, my gosh, what a really nice guy. I'm really excited about him.
Yeah, it's from the too good to be true department. I saw that post and the old cynic in me was like, I wonder if somebody set this up. I mean, because it was so cool that you thought it couldn't be real. But this is who he is. Beyond that, on the field, he's fast, he's quick, he's all the things as advertised. With rookie minicamp, you just wanted to see him look uber quick, uber athletic. It's good that he's also an uber good kid too.
Well, and to your point, Kai, the fans had an opportunity to just be around him, and that was what it was all about, was to give them an opportunity to see this next generation of Jaguar superstar and to feel the buzz and connect. And from that perspective, what an outrageously successful hour that was.
Could feel the excitement on the field and off the field with the fans as well. Our second big thing today going to be changes. Last week this happening, but Gabe Davis dropped from the team. Obviously not a great free agent signing from the last administration there, as he's only here one season and a lot of money left on the line, John. I don't think there's anything we would be surprised with at this point, because we've seen that the front office now is not scared to do moves that they think need to be made and make moves that need to be made, and this was just a move they felt they had to make.
Yeah, and sometimes when you have regime change and you have made moves the previous offseason, you have contracts that you sort of would like to get rid of. Usually those guys stay through because of cap reasons. Brian, the Jaguars decided this was not the right fit, and I think culturally they wanted to move on.
I don't know. Is this the catch or the drop in the end zone in that's a catch. Remember the drop? It was the opening drive. The Jaguars had been bouncing around and had no success, and they desperately needed something from their $13 million receiver last year, and you get to the Bears game, and he drops it and have to settle for a field goal, and it seemed like they were on their heels. I don't ever think he fit. He seemed like one of those knee-jerk free agent signings last year that the Jaguars have too often engaged in. It's nice to see this year that they didn't go that direction.
Give some opportunity for the rookies and maybe some of the undrafted players a chance to kind of make their way in the wide receiver room as well. So our final big thing today is going to be schedule release. It's officially coming out tomorrow, but we do know now that the Jaguars are going to play one game in London and they're going to take on the Rams in Week 7. Brian, the last couple of years we played 2 there. This year only 1 game. And what do you expect? We'll talk a little bit more about the schedule coming up, but what do you think about the London game?
Well, listen, the why behind that is that the Jaguars have always said it had to match up. There had to be an opponent that was giving up their home game in order for it to fit, and it didn't fit this year. Obviously, in 26 and 27, when the stadium is under serious construction, you can expect multiple games back in London. And John, the league never misses the opportunity to have some sort of drama on the side, and obviously the storyline will be Liam Coen and James Gladstone and their first year taking on the Rams.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool 3 or 4 days, a cool story. And as you said, the reason there's not 2 is there's no opponent. And Kai, guess what? In the NFL, it's hard to play without an opponent.
Oh, okay. Good.
And listen, it's worth pointing out, remember when everybody was worried about the Jaguars playing multiple games in London, and now you see a situation where they're saying, look, it just didn't fit, so we're not. But look at all the games that the NFL announced this morning, John. You've got games in Madrid, and I forget whether it was Berlin or Frankfurt for the game in Germany, and multiple games in London and in Dublin. And we haven't even heard who the Chargers opponent is going to be when they go back to Brazil this year. I mean, this is just, man, this is where the league is headed, to this international platform. And it's exciting in one sense because you see all the places they're spreading the game.
An expansion for sure. Stay with us. We're going to talk a little bit more about minicamp, do a recap, and we'll hear from your head coach, Liam Coen.
My name is Charlie Jordan, and I'm the manager of social media for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So as manager of social media, we serve as a bridge between the fans and the franchise. And so my passion is rooted in being a fan, but I also get to work with the team each day. The Bright Future Scholarship was huge for me because I was able to pursue an education at the University of Florida. And because I didn't have to worry about paying for classes, I could spend my time covering the sports teams that I work around. I'm extremely grateful for the Bright Future Scholarship and the Florida Lottery specifically for allowing me to earn an education.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Restaurant Oehser is a bustling French-American bistro focusing on classic French techniques with their chefs incorporating a traditional Southern influence. Celebrate life's special moments or just relax and enjoy their daily happy hour. Restaurant Oehser also offers full-service catering for any of your event needs. Restaurant Oehser, located in historic Avondale at 3630 Park Street. Visit www.restaurantoehser.com.
Welcome back into Jags A.M. We're going to talk a little bit more about minicamp because that's what went down last week with the rookies getting in here, trying to figure everything out. Obviously, the star of the show was Travis Hunter. Liam Coen talked a little bit about his new star player.
No, when he got here after the draft, we got to hang out with him for a little bit there, and you felt it right away, right? You did. You felt that infectious smile that he has, that he provides and brings into the building. Very serious about football, very serious about his process in order to put himself in a position to ultimately just be in a physical shape to be able to do this and to run forever and to have the stamina and strength to be able to do this at a high level. But you see him out there dancing and having fun, and that's really cool to see. We want to see some more of that, and when he goes out there and he's doing his thing, he is serious about this process.
We talked a little bit about what he's like off the field, obviously that viral posting about his plane ride back from Boulder, but just seeing him interact with the other players, right? The energy, it's infectious. And we talked a little bit about his off the field, just the star power that's going to come along with this is pretty cool.
I wonder whether his personality, John, is going to take over and become the persona of this team. Trevor's, his doesn't just exude like this guy does. They're just not the same personality. This one is much, loud's probably not the right word, but man, you feel it when you're around it. And for all the good guys in the locker room and the strong leaders, this personality is different. And by the way, he's used to his personality being the personality of his team. It was in high school, at Jackson State, and at Colorado.
Yeah, some guys just, when they come into the league, they're ready to lead by being themselves. When I was in Indy, Bob Sanders came in. He was a second-round draft pick, and it would have been a Hall of Fame safety had he not gotten hurt. But from day one, he knew he belonged, right? And in terms of his personality, this is not fair to Travis Hunter, but I keep thinking about how Magic Johnson changed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Mm-hmm. Just by being himself, and nobody thought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could ever have fun on the court in the 70s. And Magic Johnson was such a dynamic personality that he sort of changed the way the Lakers did business. Now, you have to be great to do that. But Travis Hunter, all the stuff with Gladstone talking about intangibly rich and how you can come into an environment and raise it by being yourself. I don't think this kid knows any other way to be. And because it comes from a place of integrity, it's who he is, he can get away with dancing on the field. You also need to be pretty good to dance on the field.
Sure.
I've watched guys in this organization dance during warm-ups who weren't very good, and all I wanted to do was tell them to stop dancing. But this guy, it's not for show. It's who he is. He's always, I like to use the term, over his feet. He's always being himself. And if he's good and great, then I absolutely think it'll be the personality of the team.
And he may make it easier for more quiet star players like Brian Thomas to just be himself and play ball and not worry about it.
And I think that's one of the cool points about this is we talk a lot about the new regime coming in, and I think in the last couple of years they've struggled with this as well, as making an identity for themselves. So when you have players who already know who they are, and I'm using that term in who he is as a person, but also as a player, he feels like he understands his own skill set and what he can contribute to a team. That can give you the identity that we feel like have been lacking for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about his personality so much, A, because it's the time of year, but B, because that's one of the things the Jaguars were planning on when they swung big to go up and get him. He's that kind of transformative personality on the field and off the field. They're expecting it. They're expecting him to, by being himself, transform this place.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about minicamp. I know it's John's favorite time of year,
Love
but Coach did talk a little bit about what he actually has in terms of expectations and what they were working on this week.
Called that an alignment assignment period where we've installed plays right on both sides of the ball, concepts, formations, motions, shifts, defensively, calls, right, adjustments to these formations and motions and shifts. And so it was just a good op to kind of get out there, get the huddle, it's wild when you poll these guys on how many have been in a huddle recently and how many have heard a verbal cadence recently. It's very minimal. So we are actually teaching, this is the huddle, this is where you line up in the huddle, this is how we break the huddle, and this is a verbal cadence. And so that is like starting at ground zero in a lot of ways. So didn't really feel like it was fully necessary to come and do true competitive 11 on 11, but at the end of the day, I think we got something out of it.
John, perhaps the state of college football at this point, but showing them what a huddle is, showing them their proper alignments or where they're going to be placed at on the line. Just the little things, got to get those in order, because if you want to join regular practice this week, they need to know what's going on.
Yeah, and I think it's a very, I think more coaches are talking about it now, but I absolutely think it's a huge factor when guys come into the league. Quarterbacks, Trevor had not been in professional huddle and scrimmage situations very much. So yeah, there's a learning curve. It's what makes this time of year so critical in a new regime, but for rookies always. Even if they never take a hit, which they don't this time of year, it's vital because they're having to learn new instinctive, natural things to do. They're having to get their muscle memory back from something they never had before.
It's not the most important time of the year, but it's really valuable for the reasons that you just said. The consistent programs. The teams that win consistently are the teams that find ways to maximize their hour on the field on a Saturday in May. And it's pretty clear, listening to Liam kind of go through the litany of reasons and rationale there of what they were trying to do, that this is a hyper-organized coaching staff that is making sure they maximize their time on the field.
And it is that time of year where you learn the little things. This is how we're going to run this. So then it's not a question when it gets to training camp or the season. They know how things are going to operate. So let's hear a little bit also from Coach talking about some of the players that stood out to him.
Jack Kaiser, first and foremost, on the defensive side of the ball. Just from a diligence standpoint, you could tell he's already has some of those leadership qualities that you look for. He's in really good physical shape coming into camp here this weekend. I think Caleb Ransaw as well stood out on the defensive secondary. Wyatt Milam did a nice job in the drills over the course of the last 2 days. And, really all these guys did a great job. We'll be able to go watch the tape from today. A lot of mistakes and things that did happen to occur yesterday, but that's part of it. But overall, really appreciate their energy and enthusiasm.
Brian, those are some names we're familiar with, obviously being complimentary, but it does give you a little bit of a sense that some of those guys can compete for starting jobs. We've been talking about it, but it really does feel that way, and it doesn't always feel that way with the rookies.
Listen, I just because I knew we'd spend so much time talking about Travis Hunter, I went a different direction, and I wrote it for the website. I spent most of my time just watching Wyatt Milam. And listen, the eye test, you see him immediately, you realize, okay, he's built different than most of the rookie offensive linemen that come in. He's big, he's tall, he's broad, and he moves really well. That's all you can see, right, is the movement skills. So I looked at that and I thought, well, there's no reason. Just pencil him in. I mean, make him the starter. Let's go.
This line's going to look a lot different, I think.
Well, I mean, I think so, but when you see the way that he would hit the bag or explode off the line and then go right to the coach with the, is that what you're looking for, sort of, am I doing that right? Are my hands in the right position? It's just clear. He's a guy that belongs. I mean, I don't know whether intangibly rich, John, is the right adjective to use in this case, but in reality, that's the type of player that they're looking for. They got their guy.
Yeah, and as you look more and more at him, it's hard to figure out sort of why he dropped. Guys drop. He was moving from tackle to guard. But this is a kid who's very decorated in college. And as you say, sometimes with a lineman, when they get out there, even in minicamp, you're like, ooh, it's not really the body type that you like. He certainly looks the part. I'm excited about Oehser. I think that, as you said, I think Milam will start. And the third-round safety's name's escaping me, and it shouldn't because Ransall. I think he starts.
The running back is somebody that's going to be real interesting too, because it's clear, even though it was just rookie minicamp, he's got an explosive first two steps.
Yeah, he does. The speed is there, and the strength as well, I think, is what we're going to see. So if they can pass pro well, then they'll see the field, I'm sure. Stay with us here. We're going to talk about the schedule release coming up, and we'll give you some of our predictions.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious Fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop, or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When you show your home love with a natural gas water heater, it loves you right back with more cost-efficient, endless hot water.
Hon, hurry it up, please.
And right now, you'll love earning a cash rebate up to $700 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas water heater.
We're going to be late. Again.
What? Did you say something, hon?
To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Move the freight, move the freight. Magellan Transport voted the coolest office space in Jacksonville. You can head over to magellanlogistics.com. Welcome back into Jags A.M. We're going to talk a little bit about the schedule. It's going to be coming out officially on Wednesday night, but we do have one that we already know, which is they've announced the international games. So the Jaguars are going to play one game in London this season. That'll be Week 7 against the Rams. A little bit different from the last couple of years. We talked about just one game this season because of the way things worked out with opponents. But we're going to try to do our best and make a couple of guesstimates as to what we think the schedule is going to look like. So for the season opener, we all picked a game that we think might be the season opener. Brian, why'd you go with the Chiefs?
Well, we had the Chiefs a couple of times. The home opener in 23. We had them for the season opener in 2019 and in 2013. It just seemed to me like that is a marquee opponent. The Jaguars, at the beginning of the season have a little sex appeal with the quarterback and his tandem of receivers of Thomas and Hunter. It just seems to me like that's a good game for opening day with one of the league's marquee teams against one that they're hoping will take a step forward.
Plus, Minshew Mania will be coming back.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was there. He was the starter. If you recall, because Nick Foles got hurt on opening day 2019, which wrecked that season, and that's the start of Minshew
Against
Mania.
the Chiefs.
That makes it even more. I'd forgotten he was there.
Completed a bunch of passes in a row.
Yeah. John, why'd you pick the Texans?
I went with the Texans because
Why not?
yeah, there were like 14 opponents, so I went with the Texans. Because they opened against Miami last year, it was out of division. Why not put the Texans? Kind of hoping it's a road game at Houston. Once when they opened on the road at Houston, they had a great season off of it.
It was
So maybe that'll
2017.
happen. So it's really hard. I mean, the schedule always cracks me up because once it comes out, everybody says, oh, well, that's why the league did that. And there's 5 or 6 things with the Jaguars you can say, well, that's why the league did that. They were planning on that. But really, it's mostly arbitrary. And you can tell, I had no clue last year they were going to open against the Dolphins in Miami.
Oh, sure.
And it really didn't have a whole lot of context for either team. Sometimes it's just the way it falls.
I went with the Titans mostly because I feel like the last couple seasons we've been ending up going to Nashville, so I'm going to will this into existence. I want to go there when it's not freezing, so let's try to do that in September. That would be nice. Let's do what we think there's going to be for primetime games. I didn't think there would be multiple this year. I think we all picked one. Maybe a Thursday night is kind of what we're looking at, but Brian, what were you looking at?
I went with the Broncos for the obvious storyline of Travis Hunter's return to Colorado. I think it's a Thursday night game for sure. I think that there is one Jaguars primetime game because when you're coming off a 4-13 season, and then the year before, the Jaguars didn't perform all that well in primetime. So I think the Jaguars have a formula with the quarterback and the receivers and the young coach and Baselli's return and all that to be a consistent primetime team into the future. But this year, I think it's just one.
Yeah, I completely agree. I went with the Bengals because why not? It's a road game. My guess is this year the head coach flies back with the team if it's a road game up there. So
that's probably a good idea.
That would be the storyline I'd watch. So that'd be fun.
I think we all went with road games here, but I'm thinking Thursday as well. I went for Sin City because a little nighttime, get the strip all light up in the background. I think it'd be nice. Very scenic for all of the bump shots for all of the broadcasts. So I went with Las Vegas. We'll have to see what that ends up being. And we also did a must-watch game. I did something similar to you, Brian, when we were talking about Travis Hunter going back to Colorado. Yeah. Also, the Broncos having such a good run at the end of last season into the playoffs. That's a game I definitely want to watch and I think will be good. Also, just in Mile High is always a nice setting, so I think that'll be a good one to check out.
I'll go with the Texans because they've won the division the last 2 years. But, since the first time they showed up here in 2002 as an expansion team, they have just bedeviled the Jaguars. The Jaguars' record against them is abysmal. You'd think that this was the Patriots they were playing, and yet they just can't seem to get over on them. They did in 2022 when that team was in real trouble, but the last 2 years, not so much. So I think the Texans game is super important because, listen, if you want to win the division, you have to beat them.
Yeah, at some point, you want to see this team stand up to that team that happened last year. So I think it'll be a major storyline. But I do kind of think I had no real issue with how the Jaguars handled it last year. But I think in this, it might be handled a little bit differently. I went with the Rams in London for reasons we talked about earlier. It's in London, but from a philosophical standpoint, knowing how Gladstone and Les Snead, the Rams general manager, feel about each other, the mentor, and the Jaguars have said this is the North Star. This is the organization that they sort of would like to gear toward being and then eventually surpassing because you want to be better. But this is sort of their standard right now. So it will be interesting on that front. You don't get that many clear storylines like that in the NFL. You get ones people talk into existence. But this one's pretty real. With Liam having been there and the McVay connection, there are some real ties with this one. It'll be interesting.
Definitely. Stay with us. We'll tell you what's going on the rest of the week and when the schedule releases.
Hi, My name is Charlie Jordan, and I'm the manager of social media for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So as manager of social media, we serve as a bridge between the fans and the franchise, and so my passion is rooted in being a fan, but I also get to work with the team each day. The Bright Future Scholarship was huge for me because I was able to pursue an education at the University of Florida, and because I didn't have to worry about paying for classes, I could spend my time covering the sports teams that I work around. I'm extremely grateful for the Bright Future Scholarship and the Florida Lottery specifically for allowing me to earn an education.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back to Jags A.M, brought to you by Fresh from Florida. It is always in season. Right now it's minicamp season, OTA season. We're getting to see the players working out a little bit. No real football just yet, but got to lay the groundwork, of course. And Travis Hunter was a day late coming into camp. He didn't miss any practice time, but just kind of getting signed up because he was graduating from the University of Colorado on Thursday last week. So that's pretty exciting for him. The first guy in his family to graduate from college, walk across that stage, a big moment for him. And of course, the team more than happy to let him go do that. Wearing Jags pajama pants, no less. He said that was his first purchase. When he found out where he's going, he said he had to get some pajama pants, which I think we can all relate with. We all like some good pajamas.
You know, just the thing I like about him is how well he explains the little things, right? He gives you the detail that you weren't necessarily asking for, that it was the first thing that he bought from Amazon, that he was the first person in his family to graduate from college, and to know his backstory, especially with his father, to see him hit this height, it's a great storyline. He's a sensational person. Hopefully he's a sensational player too.
Yeah, and this is going to sound strange from somebody who's such a star on social media, but I kind of like the fact I don't think he really cares that much what people think about him. You know, and meaning he's going to be his own guy. He's going to sort of march his own way. That's pretty cool at that age, and to see him with I don't know that he's the biggest star in all of sports since NIL started, but he's in the conversation. Or at that level. And he seems to have handled it remarkably well with a lot of perspective. And I wouldn't have done that at age 22, 23. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Schedule release coming out tomorrow night. The NFL is going to have a reveal. John, I believe that's right. And then we're going to do our own analysis as well. And I think there's a video on social coming out for our reveal. It's very top secret. It's very top secret.
It's usually a thing.
So, your favorite?
Oh, they always do a nice job with it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, they do. It's going to be pretty cool. So keep your eyes out for that tomorrow night. That'll be released, and then we'll have a rapid analysis once we get the dates for you so we can talk out the whole schedule, and then we'll talk about it next week too. So have a good week and enjoy the schedule release.